But what you're right about is the collapse of Joe Biden's ratings, which have declined on the 5 or 6 measures being looked at by 6 to 13%. And this reflects something that I've been talking about for years. The Democrats are bloody awful when it comes to messaging.
Let's go into the details of why Donald Trump's popularity has been rising increasingly. And more importantly, though, as well, Alan, why Joe Biden has been deemed to be doing a bad job on the economy when the economy is actually doing quite well in the US.
That's extraordinary. First, let me correct you again. Uh, Donald Trump's ratings have not improved. They've either gone up by 1% in the first 4 ratings and gone down by 3 and 5%. So that's wrong. But what you're right about is the collapse of Joe Biden's ratings, which have declined on the 5 or 6 measures being looked at by 6 to 13%. And this reflects something that I've been talking about for years. The Democrats are bloody awful when it comes to messaging.
Mhm.
Democrats used to be great on messaging. Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal, Bill Clinton's bridge to the 21st century, Barack Obama's hope and change. But since then, the messaging has absolutely collapsed. People have no idea what Joe Biden has done, and they are woefully ignorant about the state of the economy.
And
You
why do
know,
you think that is?
because of number one, an absolute failure of democratic messaging. They've not gotten across Biden's accomplishments. He has achieved a greater trove of domestic accomplishments than any president since the 1960s. It was Biden and Biden alone who put together the coalition that stopped Putin from rolling over and taking Ukraine. People don't understand that. He's steered the economy into a soft landing, and yet 56% believe the economy is in recession when it isn't. Almost half believe that unemployment is at a record high when it's at a record low. Almost half believe the stock market is declining when the stock market is soaring.
I,
Somehow, nothing is getting across to the American people, whereas Donald Trump's big lie, keep lying, keep saying it loudly and often works. It's the hallmark of every authoritarian
mm.
throughout history.
But do you think that perhaps people are not feeling that improvement in the economy? Because it's all very well to tell people, well, the economy is doing great, unemployment's doing well, stock market's doing well. But if they're not feeling it, Alan, then perhaps that they're going to be more inclined to believe that it's not going well because it's not
Well,
going well for them.
that's not a good explanation. The remarkable thing is there have been surveys about people's own financial situation, and they're much more positive than people's assessment of the overall economy. Plus, how you're feeling doesn't mean you have to be woefully ignorant about what's actually happening in the economy. It's
Mm.
much deeper than that. It is a huge failure of democratic messaging and the very effective use of the big lie by Donald Trump and his allies.
Do you think that the Democrats have got enough time to change the messaging, or is it too late?
There's certainly enough time. There's 6 months before the election. And, I think again, the Democrats are doing all the wrong things. They should be pounding home their accomplishments and what they're going to do for the American people uh, with another 4 years. Instead, they're focusing on the challenger. And that is an extraordinary mistake.
Do you think, well, that's what was going to be my next question. Do you think that they are sometimes in poker tables, they say play the man, not the cards? Is that the mistake that they're sometimes making? They're focusing too much on Donald Trump, where actually they should be looking at their own achievements or perhaps looking at the wider Republican Party. It seems that there is an obsession with Donald Trump, and the more he sits in front of juries, the more well, actually, his donations rise. We can discuss whether his popularity is going up or down, but it's certainly not doing him much damage.
No, it's not. And it's a big mistake to focus on the identity and or characteristics of the challenger. the reason I've been able to hit 10 out of 10 elections is my system is based upon how elections really work, which are votes up or down on the strength and performance of the White House party. People ask, has the White House party governed well enough to get another 4 years? And that's the message that the Democrats have to be putting out. Donald Trump's problems will take care of themselves, regardless of what Democrats
Mhm.
say or do. A lot will turn on whether he's convicted in the New York City, not hush money trial. That's not what he's on trial for, election and tax fraud
Yeah.
trial. Whether he's going to go on trial for any of these other things. So don't obsess upon Donald Trump. Tell the American people what you've done for them and what you're going to do for them in another 4 years.
Alan, I don't know whether you have made your prediction for this election. Do you have any inkling on which way it's going to go?
I have not made a final prediction. That will not be made till August. But I will tell your listeners, forget the polls and forget the pundits. Polls 6 months, 5 months out have zero predictive value, and the pundits just talk off the top of their heads. They don't have a scientific basis for analyzing elections. And what I've said was, and I've seen this as recently as a few days ago from a New York Times guy, Ezra Klein. Biden should step down and get the younger candidate step in. Wrong, wrong, wrong. One of my keys of my 13 keys is incumbency. Biden's wins that. Party contest. Biden wins that. So he holds two keys right off the top. Six more keys would have to fall to predict the Democrats' defeat. Biden doesn't run. There are two keys down off the top, and only four more keys would have to fall. Right now, Biden is definitively down two of my keys: party mandate because of losses in US House elections, and incumbent charisma because Biden is no JFK or Franklin Roosevelt. That means four more keys would have to fall to predict his defeat. So a lot would have to go wrong over the next few months. And the keys to look at are third party, is RFK Jr. going to soar or fade? Social unrest, what's going to happen with the pro-Palestinian protesters, and foreign military success and failure with two wars raging.
Well, it's fascinating. I'm looking forward to speaking to you in August, Professor Allan Lichtman, there, Professor of History at American University, who has correctly predicted, well, all 10, according to him, last elections. Thank you for
Pleasure.
joining us, Professor. It's been a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you.
Say one more thing.
Yes, go ahead.
I have a live show, 9 p.m. every Thursday. That's 9 p.m. DC time. And you can get it by looking up at Allan Lichtman YouTube, and you can follow the keys with me.
Okay, follow the keys with Allan Lichtman on YouTube. Thank you for